I'm also gonna make Diddy.
Hello, brother. So I understand this is meant to be a comedy video. I didn't find your video funny at all, but I'm not the comedy police, so whatever. Nevertheless, I think it's important to answer some of these questions or things that may come to our mind when it comes to God and the evil that happens in our world. You showed, for example, some things in your video like Diddy and, people that do evil. And it's not like God creates people with the intent of making them evil and sinners. God gives us the free will to either do good and love Him or do evil and reject Him and follow all the wicked ways of Satan. Also, I think you should understand that God's will is not always done here on earth. Let me explain to you why. On Matthew 6, verses 9 to 13, Jesus teaches us the Lord's Prayer. And part of the Lord's Prayer says, "Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven." Now, let me ask you this. If God's will was already being done all the time on earth as it is in heaven, why would we then have to pray for that to be done? This is because earth is a fallen world. Humanity fell, which led to all of creation to fall. This is why we see degradation in all different aspects of life. Hence, why we even pray for God's will to be done in the first place. If it was already done all the time, we wouldn't have to pray for it. Let's reason together, guys. Furthermore, if you go to Matthew 4, verses 8 to 9, when the devil is tempting Jesus, he says to him on verse 9, "All of these things I will give to you if you fall down and worship me." So Satan has access to the kingdoms of this world. He has power and influence, because how could he tempt Jesus and tell him, "I can give you this," if he didn't already have access to it? So like I mentioned earlier, we have free will, the free will to either accept or deny God, the free will to accept or reject Satan's temptation. Hence why God's will is not always done on earth, and hence why Satan has a huge influence on earth, even influence over the kingdoms of this world. And you also have to remember that we're still living in a fallen world. So once you put all of these things into context, you understand, well, it makes sense for people to do evil because they have the free will to do so. Satan has a lot of control over this world, hence why there are so many evil people doing wicked things. And when it comes to diseases, well, that's part of a fallen world. We see that when the world was initially created in the Bible, disease was not a part of it, death was not a part of it. Even unaliving each other, that wasn't even a thing, because we see that in the story of Cain and Abel. So these are all things that progressively got worse and began to happen after the fall. We're in a fallen world. Again, I'm not going to criticize how funny or not funny your video was. I didn't find it funny, but I'm not trying to be mean-spirited against you. Rather, I'm trying to explain to you some of the things that you mentioned in this video, because to me, it sounds like a lot of people are just like, well, I just have to accept it, and there's no explanation whatsoever in the Bible, when that is so far from the case.